So let's look at the defense. Now that we kind of know who our offensive line is, we've got the center, we've got the quarterback. We're missing a couple of guys in the back because we've got 5 here.
Well, we've got 6 across the front, so we're still missing 5 individuals. Most times you'll see the letters WR. That means wide receivers. Those are our 2 receivers generally set out wide to the ball. Those are guys who are either going to run down and block for the running back, or they're going out to catch a ball. Then you, of course, you can't forget the one guy, QB. Everybody's heard that term in the passing. That means quarterback. He's the team leader. He's situated directly behind the center. And then, of course, you have your running backs. You either see the terminology RB, which means running back, TB, which means tailback, or FB, which means fullback. Either way, those guys are going to block and run for each other and protect the quarterback in passing situations.
And what happens when the quarterback gets sacked? Who has let their job down?
Like I just told you, 10 men can do the perfect thing, but if that, let's use the fullback because I didn't play that position. If the fullback misses his block and his man tackles the quarterback, the whole play just went kaput. So that's what we say about the National Football League. You need 11 men to become one body. And when one breaks down, it can break down all 11.
And you can actually lose yards.
Oh, you're going to lose yards. You got to remember, we talked about it earlier in episodes. You have 4 downs to go 10 yards. If you take 1 down and don't go anywhere, was it a negative play for you or was it a positive? Evidently, it was a negative because you didn't gain anything. So you have to gain on every single play. You've got to be moving forward. When you're not moving forward, you're losing.
Now, and the way you actually have more yardage added to your 1st and 10 is if someone tackles you behind the starting point of where the ball started from. So if the ball is on the 22-yard line and the quarterback goes back to about the 18 to throw, gets tackled on the 18, you now are 2nd and 14.
You're 2nd and 14.
Because you lost 4 yards.
You lost 4 yards. And there's a pro and a con to that because you'll have a situation where you've got to go 80 yards for a touchdown. Well, just because you lost 4 yards doesn't mean you have to go 84 yards. Yes, you do. But in the stat books, which of course all players want to see their stats at the end of the year because you get paid for stats as well, you still only went 80 yards. You happen to lose before you began to gain yards. But in the long run, a touchdown is a touchdown when you see 6 points go up on the
No
board.
matter how many times you have to go back and forth to get it.
You don't really care.
All right, so that's our offense. Let's look at the guys lining up on the other side. Against the offense, we've got that same, for every guy that's down there on the line on the offense, we've got a matching guy on the defense lined right up with them. Let's talk about who they are.
Let's talk about it, and I'm going to do something that's a little simple because there are a lot of different variations of defense that you can actually use. But to keep it simple for what we need today, we're going to stay with the same formation that we had on the offense. You've got your big meat at the front, 5 guys. You have the same 5 guys on defense. Let's start with the center. The guy on the offense is called the center. The guy directly above him is an NG. That means nose guard. Another acronym. Go to the guards and the tackles. Typically in the National Football League, people who run a 52 front, which is 5 down linemen, 2 linebackers, you have what's called defensive tackles on both sides of the center, same as a guard. And then as we had tackles in the offensive side, what we have on defensive sides are defensive ends. They tend to line up on the outside ends of our offensive tackles. So that's where our mismatch of 5-on-5 go.
And we'll make sure that we put a diagram up on the website for you so that you can see exactly the positions. We'll have the little letters, and then the letters will be explained on the side. On the defensive side, who lines up on the offensive side. And now behind that line, on the defense, we have
the quarterback for defense. That tends to always be the middle linebacker, MLB. He's the guy who calls out the signals, who huddles up the defense. Now we talked about the wide receivers. On the opposite side of the field for the defense, we have what's called cornerbacks, CBs. Those are the guys who chase the offensive guys around the field all day long. Or you'll see them shedding them, trying to come up and make the late tackle. Looking at the running backs and the fullbacks, the tailback and the fullback. On the defensive side of it, you have what's called the SS, strong safety, and you have what's called the FS, F is in Frank, S is in Sam, that's the free safety. So that's your mismatch of those two positions there.
And they kind of float around a little
They
bit.
move around just as running backs and fullbacks will move around. To round out the 11-man roster, two guys that we haven't talked about, those are guys that follow that tight end around the field. And there's always going to be one floating. Those are our OLBs. Those are outside linebackers. That kind of completes your 11 men on defense as we completed the 11 men on offense.
And altogether, it makes the game of football. It's just a game, though.
It's a game, but boy, what a game it is.